So here again the next topic, that linkage and recombination. Till now we discussed very well that what the Morgan elaborated and Morgan selected the Drosophila, Melanogaster and cross between them. Now today we are going to discuss about that why Morgan chosen the Drosophila, Melanogaster. Here the Thomas Hunt Morgan. Why he selected the Drosophila only for his experiment? This is the first show that कि जब researchers किसी भी organism को select करते हैं for the experiment, there is a lot of reasons. हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था when in case of the Mendel as well, why Mendel chooses the pea plant. In the same way, there were so many reasons behind it which we already studied very well. Now, in case of this Drosophila melanogaster, why Morgan selected this? The very first reason is that it is a very small size organism. It is very minute, and it is also called as, we very well studied that it is also called as fruit fly. Because of that, because of this, Morgan is also called as flyman of the genetics. Why it is called? Because Morgan studied on the fruit fly. Therefore, Morgan is called as flyman of the genetics, as well as he is also known as the father of experimental genetics. Please remember. Okay, so the very first character is that it is very small in size, so they can be easily bred and then developed, and we can study them. भाई छोटे हैं, laboratory में easily मिलेंगे हमें, हम उनकी आसानी से study कर सकते हैं. Secondly, we can talk about that they could be grown easily on synthetic medium. In the laboratory, so that is कि ऐसा कोई भी organism, हमारे पास ये purpose होना चाहिए कि when we are selecting any of the organism that can be easily grown in the laboratory, हम उसको आसानी से laboratory में develop करवा सकते हो. जब वो easily develop हो जाएगा, so उसमें ये कहानी होगी that कि it can be easily developed on the synthetic medium. उसकी स्टडी आराम से कर सकते हैं, उसकी पॉपुलेशन की स्टडी हम आसानी से कर पाएंगे. The third thing is that there is a very short life cycle of this Drosophila. They are having a short life cycle of just 2 weeks. They can complete their whole life cycle in just 2 weeks. So therefore, this is also the one of the most reason, because of that Morgan selected the Drosophila. Another one more reason is that during a single mating only they produce a large number of progenies, more than hundreds or thousands of the progenies has been developed over there. So this is also the one of the reason by during a mating, the number of the progenies are more, the characters can be easily studied in them. जितने ज़्यादा variations आएंगे उन सब की study आसानी से कर ली जाएगी. This is also the one of the reason for the selection of the Drosophila. Another one reason that they can be easily separated sexually, or we can say they are showing the sexual dimorphism.
Different.
That the male and the female organisms are easily identified and can be separated easily on their structural level itself. On this basis, if we say that there in this case the male is smaller than that of the female, when we just go through with their body size, we just find out that the male body is a bit smaller than that of the female body. The another one, that they have many types of the hereditary variation that can be seen with a low power microscope. That means कि इनमें इतने ज़्यादा variations हैं और वो सारे variations देखने के लिए हमें बहुत high techniques की requirement नहीं थी, बहुत high speed microscope की requirement थी, which we can easily seen by the simple microscope itself. So these are the some reasons because of which Morgan selected the Drosophila. So again we just recall that why Morgan selected the Drosophila melanogaster. That the first thing, it is very small in size. Second, we can say that it can be grown easily on synthetic medium in laboratory. Third, we can say that they are having a very short life cycle, within just, they can complete their life cycle in just 2 weeks itself. So next we can say that in a single mating they produce a large number of progenies which can easily be studied. Next is that they shows sexual dimorphism. That is, we can say that the male and the female can be easily distinguished from one another, and thus the male is smaller than that of the female. Next is there has many types of hereditary variations that can be seen with a low power microscope, or we can say with a simple microscope easily. Achha, now this is the reasons for which Morgan selected the Drosophila. Now Morgan crossed between them. हमने पढ़ा था कि Morgan ने इनके बीच में भी dihybrid cross करवाई थी. तो which characters or what characters selected by the Morgan? तो उन्होंने कुछ कैरेक्टर्स की स्टडी करी एंड ऑन दैट बेसिस ओनली ही जस्ट गेव द थ्योरी ऑफ द लिंकेज एंड द रिकॉम्बिनेशन, ही इलैबोरेटेड देम. तो हाँ, वी जस्ट कम ऑन टू द टॉपिक दैट इफ क्रॉस फर्स्ट की बात करें तो इन दिस केस Morgan selected a yellow body and white eye female. Whereas the brown body red eye male. So first and foremost thing यहाँ पे Morgan ने selection किया that one is the yellow body with white eye female, whereas the brown body with red eye male. अब as per the Mendel, F1 generation came and the F2 generation. We know very well, as per the Mendel case, in the F2 generation, the ratio should be comes into the 9:3:3:1. This should to become, but in the case of Morgan, ये ratio उनको नहीं मिला. So in the F2 generation, here I am writing only the F2 generation. In the F2 generation, the parental percentage is of 98.7%. Whereas the recombinant is developed only 1.3%. 98.7% are the parental characters only which are inherited as it is. In this case, it's just showing us that the parental characters are more linked with one another. Another cross which has been done by the Morgan is the white body and miniature wing female with a yellow body normal wing male. Second cross लिया. In the second cross, when Mendel selected the character, the white body and the miniature wing female cross with the yellow body normal wing male. So in this case, in the F2 generation, the parental percentage comes into the 62.8%, whereas the recombinant 37.2%. Here it is. There is a two variations are there in the two different crosses. For detailed explanation, we are just go through with the what exactly elaborated by the NCERT.
So yeah, the cross has been given over there. So we just talked about for the cross A, whereas in the cross B, when we talked about with the cross A, तो हमने वहाँ पे पढ़ा that he just took the yellow body and the white eye female with the cross with the wild type. While in the cross B हम लोग बात करें तो the white and the miniature wings, these are the another character with the wild type. तो इन द क्रॉस ए एंड द क्रॉस बी, दो क्रॉसिंग्स हैं. यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने कैरेक्टर्स लिए येलो बॉडी एंड द वाइट आई. दीज आर द टू कैरेक्टर्स ऑफ द कंसिडरेशन. Whereas in the cross B, white and the miniature wing are the another two characters which we are taken as a consideration. अब यहाँ पर when we look over here, so we just find out that the distance between these two genes, that is the small y and the w, is quite less, very less distance between these two genes. Whereas in the cross B, when we talked about the distance between this W and this M is quite far away. They are very far away with one another. तो देर इज हम लोगों ने इसके बेसिस पे हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था कि दैट मीन्स दीज आर वेरी टाइटली लिंक्ड और देयर इज अ लिंकेज इज वेरी हाई बिटवीन दीज टू जीन्स Y and the W, whereas in case of W and M the linkage is quite low. तो उसके बेसिस पे हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था दैट कि the tightly the linked are, the less the chances of the recombination or the low recombination takes place, whereas the more the distance between two genes or the loosely the linked genes are linked with one another, the high the chances of the recombination. Whereas तो in that case जब हम क्रॉसिंग कराते हैं तो क्रॉसिंग हुई तो when the crossing has takes place in the F1 generation the wild type and the yellow white body has been developed over there, whereas in case of the F2 generation the parental type is of 98.7% and the recombinant are of just 1.3%. तो 98.7% that means कि वेरी हाई परसेंटेज इज ऑफ जस्ट पेरेंटल टाइप ओनली. तो यहाँ पे विद दिस वी कैन जस्ट फाइंड आउट दैट कि इन दोनों जीन्स के बीच की जो डिस्टेंस थी वो बहुत कम थी. दैट इज कि दीज बोथ द जीन्स आर टाइटली लिंक्ड विथ वन अनदर. And Morgan explained this only that as the genes are tightly linked with one another, the less chances of the recombination. Whereas in the cross B we just go through the genes are loosely linked with one another, the more the chances of the recombination. यहाँ पे देखें हम तो the recombination type is of 37.2%, whereas the parental characters are of just 62.8%. So with these two crossings Morgan explained that the tightly the linked genes, the less chances of the recombination. When the genes are loosely linked with one another, the high chances of the recombinant type. There is a student of the Morgan, that is Alfred Sturtevant, used the frequency of recombinations between gene pairs on the same chromosome. उन्होंने इन्हीं की फ्रीक्वेंसी को, इनके बीच की जो डिस्टेंस है, इन जीन पेयर्स के बीच की जो डिस्टेंस है ऑन द सेम क्रोमोसोम, दिस फ्रीक्वेंसी हैज़ बीन यूज्ड बाय द Alfred Sturtevant, and then he just give us the genetic map which we are very important for our study purpose. So this is just about the, so just please recall the topics again what we have studied till now, that the why Morgan selected the Drosophila for his experiment and what these two crosses elaborated us. So stay tuned for the upcoming video. Thank you.